All right, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Welcome for joining us. This is our 2026 Maturity webinar, and we are so glad you were able to join us. We have about 300 plus members online with us this evening, and we just want to get through this webinar as quickly and as smoothly as we can. So just a few housekeeping matters before we begin. The chat is disabled, and we will be using the Q&A. I see that most persons already have seen it. So we will be using the Q&A to answer your questions. However, we're asking that you don't start typing your questions until we have completed the presentation. And the reason for that is we find that when we're trying to answer the questions in the Q&A, quite a bit of the questions which are asked are actually covered throughout the presentation. So do not start typing your questions as yet, please. Once we get to throughout the presentation, you'll see a section that comes up and says, time for your questions. Then you can start putting your questions in, and then we'll answer them in order of top to bottom. All right. Also, you will find that there will be some polls that will pop up on the screen from time to time. And we're just going to ask that you just take, it's about 30 seconds that the polls will be on screen for. So we're going to ask that you just take the 30 seconds to just quickly answer. Once you answer, the poll will disappear from your screen. All right. So again, welcome to those persons who are just joining us. So we're about to begin our 2026 Maturity webinar. Can't believe the time is flying by so fast. Feels like just yesterday we were here, but nonetheless, here we are again. And today's agenda, we have just a few things that we'll cover. So I've done the welcome and introduction. We're going to go through the group structure. So here we actually have the first poll up. You can go ahead and answer while I just go through the overview. So we're going to have just the general group structure of the plan and of the organization, the board of directors, just some history, and then we're going to have the future plans of the business, and then we'll go through the entire maturity season. All right. All right, so let me see if I can turn. I think there's a little echo. So let me just tweak my speaker a little bit. All right, just in terms of the general org structure of Heritage, for those persons who may not be very familiar and who may not have known. So Heritage, Proven Group actually acquired HEFI back in 2022. And HEFI really is the global distributor for the Heritage International Scholarship Trust Plan. The plan is actually distributed in Jamaica, Bahamas, Bermuda, and the BVI. And it actually is governed by the foundation, which is a non-profit organization. So here on the slides, you'll see that we have the investment managers. We actually also have who the administrator is and the trustee. So the fund actually, or the plan actually has a trustee who is Butterfield Trust, who is in Bermuda. And so they have to ensure that we are crossing all our T's and dotting all our I's. And then we have the various investment managers who we liaise with to have the funds invested in such a way that we can conservatively manage the funds so that we are not losing any monies for our investors. All right. So the board of directors, we have Chairman Garfield Sinclair. We also have Johan Heaven. We have John Reed. Many of us here would have actually been familiar with Richard Gordon, who was our CEO, and he actually resigned recently. So this is now our board of directors here on out. And then we have our core management team. So we have Maureen Segrila, and she's also online. You'll actually be hearing from her in a few. We have Maureen has been with us. She was with us with the previous administrator, and we were fortunate enough to have her continue with us when we acquired the plan back in 2022. And she has really been a tower of support and knowledge and expertise. So you'll hear from her shortly. We also have online Aisha Barrett. Aisha is actually the head of our asset management unit, and she currently oversees all the investments and how the assets are actually distributed and sent for investment amongst the different regions. And of course, you have yours truly as chief administrator for the plan. All right. So as mentioned, the plan is actually invested or is domiciled in Bermuda. However, we operate in 4 regions: Bahamas, Bermuda, Jamaica, and BVI. Bahamas transitioned to a new agency last year. And so the agency director, Nathaniel Butler Jr., should be online along with his team. They are located in New Providence, down by Mackey Street. Has been a breath of fresh air. So for those persons who are online and who have not yet reached out to Bahamas, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact them. We also have from BVI, sorry, we have Gion Borland Gazamb, and she actually is the sole distributor of the heritage product in BVI. She operates out of the Mutual Insurance Agency, and she has been operating for some years. You also have in Jamaica, well, I'm listed as the agency director, but that will actually be updated shortly. We're located at the Proven Wealth Building on 2 to 4 Gladstone Drive, right in New Kingston or Lady Musgrave Road. And then we have Bermuda. So we actually had Jerry Swan, who retired earlier this year, and his agency would have closed pending retirement. And so we are actually in the process of doing our proposals for the new agency to be set up in Bermuda. So as soon as that's complete, you will be notified. And so you'll be able to go back to the office as is customary, meet the new sales reps, and start again. For those persons who would have had previous plans, you'll be able to start new plans and have all of your questions answered there on spot. So Heritage actually has been around for some time. It has done well. We've had so many students, so many beneficiaries who have actually benefited significantly from the Heritage Plan. We don't do a lot of above the line marketing, and you find that the plan actually is sold quite a bit from referrals. And since inception, we've paid out in excess of US $250 million to beneficiaries, to subscribers, and this is actually a return of principal as well as scholarship payments. And then for those persons who would have opted for the self-determined option, we also have that subset here as well. And so it's a strong plan. It has done well. We have so many testimonials of persons who really have, reaped the benefits of saving for their beneficiaries' tertiary education through Heritage. And so it's a product that we are actually very proud of, very confident in, that it will continue to do well for years to come. All right. We have the second poll up on screen, so you can just answer as quickly as you can. Once you answer, it will disappear from your screen. I'll just give you a couple seconds so we're not distracted. All right. So what about the future of Heritage? Where are we now? So we actually are just constantly looking to see how it is that we can improve the performance. We know performance drives returns. And so in 2025, we had in excess of 7.5% in gross return. So we're consistently trying to ensure that we maintain a net yield of 5% per year. Given that the fund is a conservative fund, we have to be mindful of the investments that we are going into. And so we know just based on investments and the nature of investments, low risk, lower returns, high risk, higher returns. And so we have to be mindful of the investments. And so conservatively, we're consistently trying to ensure that we get to 5% annual net yield, given the strict nature of the investment parameters. We're also consistently trying to see how it is that we can improve our efficiencies, how we can ensure that we are serving the clients better, you as subscribers, what can we do differently to ensure your journey from start to maturity is seamless, to ensure that your journey is enjoyable, to ensure that you can actually confidently refer us to persons out there. That is always something that we're looking at, how we can improve the way that you make payments, how it is that we can ensure that your payments, once you make a payment, it's reflected immediately. So those are some of the things that we're looking at. We know that the transition would have been a little difficult, but we are actually on the tail end of that now. So we're just constantly seeing how we can improve our efficiencies to ensure that your journey is a better one. All right. So I'm just gonna hand over to Marlene. She's gonna jump in and then she's gonna take us through the heritage journey and where exactly we are now and what your next steps are. Marlene, over to you.
Thank you, Trisha. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Once again, welcome. We are so excited to have you. In fact, this is the most exciting aspect of our operations. It's where we are at this place where we can reflect on the journey you've started. Some of you as many as 18 years ago when your baby was just born, you enrolled into the plan. So I'm sure at the time when you sat down with your sales reps to talk about investing for your child's future education, it seemed so far-fetched. It almost as if this day would almost never be here. But we thank you for trusting us to take you throughout this journey where we can now come to a place where you can reap the benefits of your years and years of dedicated savings, commitment, and just being committed to the plan, to seeing it through to this stage. So I will quickly remind you of the path of the Heritage Plan. As mentioned, you would have met with a sales rep back then. Some of you as soon as that baby was born, some of you maybe a little bit later, but certainly for everybody, at the time you took out this plan, your child would have been under 14 years of age. So you decided on what you wanted to save. You set that up in a contract throughout the journey. Some of us would have increased the amount you started with. Some of you may have decreased, but nonetheless, you entrusted Heritage Education Funds Inc. with those savings. You diligently gave it to us and you left it with the investors, the expertise on the Heritage Home Office to make those investments, as Trisha mentioned, within the parameters of how we can invest your funds to ensure that we are maximizing returns for you. You know, as Trisha mentioned, the higher the risk you take with an investment is the higher the likelihood of your returns being higher. But within the parameters of the Heritage investment policy, we were quite diligent in how we placed those funds so that we could materialize this day where we're at the point of giving you back what you put in, and in turn paying scholarships to those wonderful little ones who are now almost all grown up. I'm sure there would be either 18 already or will be turning 18 years by December 31st. So you gave us your funds and you simply sit back, no fuss. You watched it grow over the years. And at this time where your child is 18 years or turning 18 by December 31st, your plan will mature. So on July 31st, your plans would have come to fruition where you would have fulfilled the contribution schedule and it's at the point of maturity. So here we are. It was for some of us quite a long journey, as mentioned, but we're here and it's no better time to celebrate with you. So for that, we want to say congratulations, well done. Again, we want to say a huge thank you to you for staying on course and for placing your trust and confidence in us to help you along your educational savings journey. Thank you very much and congratulations. So what's maturity? Maturity, as mentioned, is when your saving schedule has been completed, it's time for your child to enter post-secondary studies. I'm sure your children will be going into university or college this fall, and it's where the company will return your savings. It's the maturity period, and your savings will be returned at maturity. At this point, the maturity of your plan can fall under two options, either the scholarship option or the self-determined option. So you have two options under which your plan will mature. Though that's up to you. The option that you choose will be up to you, but we'll walk you through each option so that you can make an informed decision when you're completing that maturity application process. Okay. So under the scholarship option, your principal minus your fees and insurance premiums, if applicable, will be returned. This option is best suited if your child is entering a post-secondary program for two or more years. Okay, so the scholarship option is really best suited if your child is moving on to post-secondary studies. If your child will not be moving on to post-secondary studies, before I get into that, sorry, we're saying here that the better of both options, the better of the two options is the scholarship option if your child will be pursuing post-secondary studies. Where you select the scholarship option, your principal is returned at maturity. So anytime after you submit that application, those payments will begin processing and the releasing of funds will occur somewhere between the first and second week of August, okay? As long as your application is submitted. Under the scholarship option, your child will be eligible to receive 3 scholarship payments. So in the first year, which is this year when they begin post-secondary studies, you'll get the principal savings back. And in the next 3 years, under the scholarship option, they could receive as many as 3 educational assistance payments, or what we call the scholarships. Okay? Your child must be enrolled in school to receive the scholarship payment. So again, it's best suited for children who are moving on to post-secondary studies. EAPs are comprised of the interest earned on your plan. So the EAPs are, it has 2 components. One is the actual underlying interest that your plan would have earned. And it also has a discretionary top-up portion that is made by the foundation. So as a reminder, some of you I know would perhaps be looking at your statement of account and you're looking at the interest portion and saying, is this all that I'm earning? This is just a reminder that the interest only forms a part of the scholarship payments that are made. Actual payments is based on the number of units in your plan. So under the scholarship option, where the educational assistance payments are made to the students, the amount that they receive as a scholarship payment is actually dependent on the total number of units held in your plan. And the number of units held in your plan is, you can easily see that when you log on to the dashboard or when you look at your statement of account. Okay, so that explains the scholarship option. If your child is going to school, we urge you select the scholarship option. Can we go back to the previous slide, please? Okay, so we did mention there are two options. I thought I would have the next slide up would be the other option, but I'll go with the flow so we can move on. Thank you. I'll go with the flow. You can go ahead. Okay, so historically, we can see here that the return we have had returns, competitive returns over the years, but most noticeable is that since handover to the new administration, Proven Wealth Limited, the EAP portion, the EAPs or the scholarships have consistently increased over the years, as you can see from the graph that's reflected here. The amounts in EAPs are determined in each year. There's no guarantee that we'll have an increase in each year, but as mentioned before, we prudently invest the funds so that we can maximize returns. Our aim at all times is to return a decent return, to provide a decent return in EAPs for your students. We don't know what the rate will be for 2026. It's not yet decided. But as you can see from last year's payment, we paid $165 per unit in your plan. Okay. 2026 rate is to be decided, and you will be informed when that decision is made as to what those EAPs will be. Remember, now your plan is maturing this year, so your beneficiary would not be eligible to start receiving their scholarships until next year. Plan matures in 2026. First year of eligibility will be 2027 for your students. Here comes the self-determined option. So I wasn't missing it. Sorry about that. So under the self-determined option, your principal, less your fees and insurance premium, if applicable, is returned at maturity. Before I go deep into what's returned, I'll just explain what this option is. So this option is suited for beneficiaries who will not be attending post-secondary studies, or if your beneficiary is enrolling in a program that's less than 2 years in duration. Okay, so if your child will not be moving on to post-secondary studies, the option that you should select when you're completing your maturity application would be the self-determined option. Once a child is going on to school, studying for 2 years or more, then the better option to choose would be the scholarship option. So again, the self-determined option is for children who will not be going on to post-secondary studies. And what happens when you select the self-determined option, you get your savings back, your principal, which is really your contribution minus your fees, minus insurance premiums where applicable, plus the interest that would have been earned on your plan, your underlying interest on the plan. Under the self-determined option, the beneficiaries would not be eligible for any further payments beyond the principal and interest earned. That top-up portion that is offered by the foundation is only applicable where the child is going to school and the scholarship option is selected. So under the self-determined option, your plan is deemed closed once you tell us, once you've selected the self-determined option and the principal and interest is released, then your plan is deemed closed. There are no further payments under this option. So the application process to get your funds out of the plan, to get your maturity proceeds, the portal will be open on July 1st. you must complete the application for each maturing plan if the beneficiary has more than one plan. So for each plan that is maturing, you must complete one application per heritage agreement number. Okay, so you log into your dashboard, log into the secure online member dashboard, you'd select the maturity tile, and I'm hoping that most, if not all of us on the webinar this evening, most of you are familiar with the dashboard, that you would have already logged on and have looked at your statements, have looked at your plans, see what's going on. So logging on to complete the maturity application, we're hoping should not be a challenge because you would have been familiar with the dashboard. So you'd simply log on, select the maturity tile, and follow the process by inputting the necessary information asked. It will prompt you for the information, and you'd simply input that information. The URL for the portal is listed below. We do urge you to bookmark the dashboard page because you don't want to be searching all over to find it. We do urge you and suggest that once you log into the portal, that you bookmark the page in your favorites so you can, at the click of a button, readily get back onto the dashboard. To complete your application process, you will need to have your valid ID for each subscriber. So if the plan is jointly held, you will need to have the ID for each of the subscribers on the plan, and your proof of address if you have changed your address. So I'm going to pause here that you can answer the questions for the next poll, and then I'll pick it up back in 2 seconds. Once you answer, it will disappear from your screen, and I will continue with the presentation. So I'll give you 2 seconds to answer this next question. Okay, so as I was saying, to complete the application, you will need your IDs, and if you have a change of address, it's going to prompt you to upload your proof of address. Okay, so when you go onto the dashboard, it will populate with the name of your child, your address, and if that address is different, you will need to input your new address and upload the proof of address. We strongly urge that before you start to complete the maturity application, before you log on to the dashboard to start completing the process, we urge you to have a copy of your ID and your proof of address, if applicable, saved. You can save those documents in a file or on your desktop so that when you are actually completing the application process, you're not stopping to scan your ID or copy your proof of address to come back to the application. It's best that you have these documents prepared before you start your application. And the files, meaning a copy of your ID or the proof of address, must be in the format as shown on the screen: a JPEG or PDF, a BMP, a text file, or a PNG file. And that file can be no larger than 5 megabytes. So if you're uploading your documents and you find that you're having issues uploading, just stop to check on the file format and the file size. Remember, no more than 5 megabytes, and the formats are as presented on the screen. Okay. What if a subscriber doesn't have online access? We strongly suggest that by now, I'm almost certain you would have been in dialogue, most of you, if not all, in dialogue with your sales representative regarding your upcoming maturity. Your sales representative, I'm sure, is very happy to help you to complete the application process. If there's no online access, we urge you to download the maturity option form. It's on the website. You need to complete the form, make your selection, and provide a copy of your valid ID. So we need that in electronic, in a soft copy, as mentioned before. It must be a PDF or a JPEG or whatever format as was presented in the earlier slide. You would complete the application form along with your ID and proof of address if applicable. Sign that and provide a copy to your sales representative, who will be more than happy to help you to help submit that application on your behalf, onto the dashboard. So what we're saying, your sales rep will not make that selection for you. Your sales rep cannot go by word of mouth. You must provide the details, as in a signed copy of the maturity application, making your selection in terms of whether it be the self-determined option or the scholarship option. Have the completed documents presented to your sales representative, who will submit the application on your behalf. So in light of this, Ed Office will not be accepting manual application directly from the subscribers. We do urge you, if you're having issues, please reach out to your sales representative, who can provide some guidance as to how you can submit the application. Okay, I'm pretty sure that your beneficiary turning 18 years can assist you with submitting that application online. So you do have options. You either reach out to your representative, sales representative, or just ask your beneficiary to assist you with the online application process. For Bermuda subscribers only, as Tricia mentioned earlier, the physical office space in Bermuda has been closed due to Jerry's retirement. But a team from head office will be in Bermuda from July 25th to July 29th at Sweet Solutions in Pembroke. Details will follow, but a team will be there. You can mark these dates if you are having any kind of challenges with accessing the dashboard or having online access. The team will be there throughout that period, the 25th to the 29th of July, to assist you with the application process. You should take along with you to the site when that time comes, your valid ID, proof of address. A proof of address can be no more than 3 months old. So if your address in the system is different, the address that we have on file for you is different than where you're currently located, then you would need to bring along with you your proof of address, which may be in the form of a utility bill or a bank statement, and it should not be more than 3 months old. Okay, banking details will be required to facilitate the electronic transfer of funds. For subscribers in Bermuda, we will not be able to issue checks, no longer be able to issue checks, simply because we do not have physical office space in Bermuda. All payments in maturities and EAPs for our subscribers in Bermuda will be by way of an electronic transfer. When meeting up with the team that will be there, you'll be asked to complete the maturity application form, sign to it, and complete the payment form. I believe we will have paper copies of those forms on hand that you can complete, and the head office team will assist with uploading those documents to the dashboard so that you can have an early release or a timely release of your maturity proceeds.
Thank you, Marlene.
You're most welcome.
All right. Just a reminder for persons that see some questions in the Q&A, just a reminder to, there are some of the questions which I know will be answered by the time we get to the end of the presentation, just so that we don't bombard the Q&A with a lot of questions that will be covered. Just allow us to get through the presentation, and then you can start putting your questions in. But just to reiterate on the topic that you were on, Marlene, in terms of the IDs, Valid IDs are simply government issued IDs that have not expired. So we'll take passport, driver's license, voter's ID, whatever it is that has your signature on it and a picture. So it needs to have your signature and a picture for it to be a valid ID, and it should not have expired. All right, so ensure that when you're uploading those documents, it's an actual valid ID. In the years gone by, we've had so many IDs that have been uploaded that actually were expired. And what we will do is for the persons who are in Bermuda, we will send you an email notification giving you the exact address of the location that we will be staying at or will be available from, as well as the specific time, dates and times. So look out for an email, as well as we may be putting an advert in the Gleaner for persons who may not have email access. All right. So
That would be the Royal Gazette, Trish. Sorry, not the Gleaner.
Yes. What did I say,
Sorry.
Gleaner?
Uh-huh.
I'm so sorry. In your newspaper.
Yeah.
In the Royal Gazette, with the information as to where we can be found. All right. The presentation is actually being recorded. We will send an email to persons who would have registered, as well as all the persons who are eligible for retirement, for maturity this year. And they will send the link, as well as just so that you can actually go on to I think it's actually on a YouTube page, and you can actually view the webinar. So not to worry if you joined a little late, you'll get the recording, so you can actually go back over and view at your time. All right. As it relates to the dashboard, persons who may not have registered, can you please check your email today? An email actually was sent out today to all the plans which have not yet registered for the dashboard. So just check your spam, check your junk for an email from customer care at Heritage INT plan, not INTL, at INT plan, and it will actually give you the link for registration as well as the page to access the dashboard. So just ensure you bookmark the page, as Marlene had indicated earlier, so you can actually go back and log on. Okay. And there's just one other thing I wanted to just clarify a bit. So on the dashboard, it gives you all the information that you need. It tells you how many units you have, tells you who your sales rep is. It gives you the contact information for your sales rep. So you can just view all of that information on the dashboard. Also, if you would have received any of the maturity emails from us, it would also have had your sales rep contact information in it. If you generate a statement, it has your sales rep's contact information in it. With the exception of Bermuda, everybody else should have a sales rep duly listed on their dashboard, as well as on their statements, as well as in the emails that you would have received from us. For Bermuda clients, as I know, you are directed to just reach out to head office, and we will try and assist you as best as we can from here. Okay. All right. So let's get into the application process. And this is also, I think it's very simple, very straightforward, very easy. Once you log on to the dashboard, you're going to select the maturity tile, as Marlene had indicated. And there are 5 tabs for you to complete. The first one simply just has the subscriber information. So if your plan is a jointly held plan, if you notice on the screen, you'll see Pamela Test, and you will also see someone Test, right? So it lists both subscribers, and it just ensures that it tells you the information that we have on the system for you. If there's anything that is missing, that is a mandatory field, it won't allow you to proceed with the application until you've entered it. So if you try to click OK and nothing is happening, just look, you will see a little notification that pops up, sorry, that will tell you that there is a field missing and the field will be highlighted. Anything that has an asterisk means that it's a field that must be completed. So we must have a telephone number for you. Your address must be completed. Your name must be completed. Your date of birth must be completed. And we must have an email address for you. All right. Once you select OK, it will take you to, you actually select OK and next, and it takes you to the next screen. So the next screen is actually the maturity options. So this is where you would select whether you want the scholarship option or the self-determined option. And many persons are, Maureen tried to explain it as clearly as possible earlier, but just to remind you, the scholarship option is where you are eligible for at most 3 scholarships. The plan is a unitized plan. Sorry. The plan is sold on units, but it is not a unitized plan. Usually when you have a unitized plan, it means that if you have X number of units and the price goes up, then the value goes up. So it's not a unitized plan. The units are simply used to determine a couple of things. The fees that you are required to pay. It is also used to determine what your scholarship amount is, right? And so it also is used to determine what your monthly or annual payment is. So those are the things that the units are used to determine. So it's not a unitized plan. The units, when you take the units and you multiply the units by whatever the scholarship rate is for that particular year, that will determine what your scholarship is for that year. So just to remind you, you are eligible for 3 scholarships under certain conditions. And by the end of the presentation, you'll know what those conditions are for sure. So under certain conditions, you take the number of units. So if you're not sure how many units you have, you can simply look at the dashboard or your statement and we'll tell you the total number of units. You multiply that by the scholarship rate in your year, and that will determine your scholarship amount for that particular year. Last year, the rate was 165, as you saw in the graph before. So if you had 10 units, last year you would have been eligible for a scholarship of $1,650. All right. In the previous year, if you still had 10 units, you'd have been eligible for a scholarship of 1,600. So that's how the scholarship works. Number of units times whatever the declared rate is. The rate for 2026 has not yet been determined. It will be determined in July and it will be sent out to the persons who are eligible for scholarships. So you will know what the rate for this year is. All right. One other thing to note, I think there's a section when we back on the scholarship, the subscriber section, is we know that persons would have taken out the plan many years ago, 18 years ago in some instances. Over that time, you may have been married, you may have been divorced, you may have had a deed poll, whatever it is. If your name on the plan, so when you log on and the name that you are seeing, if that's not the name that you're currently using, and if that's not the name that's on your account, or if that's not the name that you need the check to be in, please ensure that you upload a copy of the marriage certificate, if that is applicable, or what's it called? Decree absolute, if it is that you're divorced and you have reverted to a name, to ensure that we can substantiate the name change to match what is on your ID and to be able to change the system to reflect your current name. All right. So on this screen, you'll simply select whether you want the scholarship option or the self-determined option. The maturity date is already pre-filled. It will say the 31st of July, 2026, unless you had a maturity date prior to now, in which case you will see 25, 24, 23, whatever that is. The portal, if you try to access the portal and try to do the application at this point, as in today, you'll get a pop-up notification to let you know that the portal opens July 1, and so you're unable to submit the application as at now. So be very careful here whether you want the scholarship option or the self-determined option. Please look at the options again. Self-determined options are really for persons whose beneficiaries are not going to school or are just doing a one-year course or whatever it is, but they are not going to be eligible for the scholarships. We've seen persons select the SDO option, and when you look at it, or for some reason we just happen to contact them, and what they really wanted was a scholarship option. Once we have made the payment, we will not be able to vary the option. So please be very careful when you select your options here. Once you select next, it goes to the payment details. So this is where you select whether you want a bank transfer or you want a check. For Bermuda subscribers, your only option here will be an electronic transfer. And so you will not have the option to elect a check in this year. Okay. This is a page where you will upload your ID. So both IDs must be uploaded. If it's a joint plan, you have to upload ID for both subscribers. Just to highlight here, for Bermuda subscribers specifically, it costs 50 cents to do a transfer from to any local Bermuda bank. And so it's not an expensive cost where we're giving you the option to do an electronic transfer. It will only be more expensive if it is that you're doing a wire transfer to an international account. All right. But once you're doing a transfer to a local Bermudian bank, the cost is 50 cents. For persons who opt to do an international wire for the other regions, if you are living elsewhere, you're no longer in Bahamas or BVI or Jamaica, and you want the payment to be done to an international account, of course, you will have to stand the cost of that wire. Wire charges sometimes go up to $40. So please be mindful if it is that you're selecting a wire option. For persons in Jamaica, if you have a Scotia account, there really is no charge. And so we encourage you to, if you're local and in Jamaica and have a Scotia account, then you select that option for a transfer to the Scotia account. Otherwise, the wire fees will be at your cost. All right. I think for Bahamas as well, Bahamas, the cost to do a transfer to a Bahamas bank is $5. So it's not very expensive to do a local transfer. If you're doing a transfer to a bank that is not in Bahamas, and especially if it's a US account, the charges are very expensive because of the rules surrounding the Central Bank of Bahamas and the conversion or the investments in US. So please, we are encouraging persons who are in Bahamas to really go the route of doing a transfer to a Bahamian bank so that you don't bear the cost of the transfer to do it to an international bank, which includes a wire charge as well as a conversion charge, which I think is about 2% of the value. So for Bahamas, it's extremely expensive. All right, so once you select electronic transfer, it will ask you for your banking details. If you select check, you'll still be required to upload your ID. However, it won't ask you for the banking details. It will simply ask you, how do you want the payment to be made? It's going to be automatically populated with the names of both subscribers, which is how the plan is sold and which is what is included in the prospectus. If you need the payment to be made only to one person in extenuating circumstances, both subscribers have to sign an attestation, and that attestation must be uploaded with the application. Okay, so for banking details, it asks you for the bank name. Your account names will be pre-filled. your account number, put the account number in, SWIFT code where applicable, saving account, whether it's a checking or savings account, branch code. For banks in Bahamas, please ensure your branch code is correct. For Bahamian subscribers, for persons also using a Scotia account anywhere in the world, please ensure your bank code is correct. And if it is that you know that your bank has a branch code and they use the branch code, please ensure you put the branch code here. Okay? Spent a lot of time in the past especially for Bahamas, trying to figure out the branch code to match with the branch address and all of that. Please ensure your branch code is accurate. Okay? The currency here, whether it's a US dollar or Bahamian dollar or Bermudan dollar, Jamaican dollar, you put the code, the currency here. Your address is pre-filled as well, unless you're making an edit to it. That information is populated here. All right. Excuse me. If there's an intermediary bank, if you're doing a wire and there's an intermediary bank, then that information is also required here. All right. And then the second to last part, now we ask you for your beneficiaries details. And this is because we want to be able to reach out and contact the beneficiary for their scholarship when the time comes. So we simply ask you for their name, their email address, the date of birth is pre-filled, and then it asks you to input their actual address if it is that you are able to do so. But we're requiring the email address for the subscriber, not subscriber, for the beneficiary, the beneficiary's name, which is pre-filled, as well as the date of birth. So you really just have to complete from address down to telephone number and email. All right. And then we have the last thing, which is just reiterating that you would have put in the correct information, ensuring and just reminding you that we're relying on the information that you would have put in to make your payments. And just confirming that the applications would have been filled out based on the options and the consensus of both subscribers. So that's all this is saying. And once you complete the check boxes, you're allowed to submit the application. So you select submit, and then you'll see a little pop-up that says your application has been submitted successfully. All right. Just to say as well, when you're uploading your IDs or proof of address, it actually does a check at that point to tell you whether or not the document is valid in terms of it is an acceptable form. So whether it is the acceptable size or the format, it comes up and tells you that the document has been checked and it has been uploaded successfully. All right, so that really is the application process. What happens after that is you will get a notification that says your application has been submitted. So head office will get an email to say you have submitted an application. So we will review your request. And once everything is in order in terms of your IDs, POA, all of that, you don't have any contributions outstanding in excess of X amount, and we approve it, you will get a notification by email to say that your application has been approved and that payment will be made within 2 weeks of approval. All right. It will also include a copy of the application that you would have put in. So it will include a copy of your payment information that you would have entered. If you opted for check, it will have that. It will have your bank account. All of that will actually be there so you can have in your email for yourself. All right. What you will also receive a breakdown of the maturity payment. So we'll tell you what the principal is and what the amount that you can expect in your account or on the check will be. You'll be notified by email once the payment has been dispatched to your account, or you will be contacted when the check is ready for collection. All right. So what are the next steps? We have a quick poll up. Just give you a few seconds to just answer the poll. What are the next steps? The next steps are you will receive an email notifying you that you may log onto the dashboard and submit your application, and that will be done in another week. So by the 1st of July, you will get that notification, so you can look out for it. It will also have the link to the dashboard in it. If you can't find it, if you haven't bookmarked it, it will be there. And we ask that once you're able to, you go on and you do your application, you review the position of your plan, and you do the application as soon as you can, right? We will then look at the plans which are in good standing, and then we're going to get to what do we mean by good standing in another couple slides. We'll look at the plans which are in good standing, and payments for applications received by the 31st of July will begin the second week of August. So they have an error here. So we'll begin making those payments the second week of August, all right, by latest. Because we don't want to commit to anything earlier. We know that we have 2 holidays. We have the 1st, the 6th in Jamaica. So we have to bear those things in mind. And then once we have started to make payments will be done every week thereafter until all the applications have been approved, and we will be reviewing the applications and approving the applications based on the order in which they are received. All right. So just some important reminders here. If you have not yet registered for the online dashboard, please just check your email. Today, I know one was sent out, a bulk registration was done. Just take the time to do the registration, please. If you're having any challenges, you can always reach out to us at customercare@heritageintl.com. Take the time now to review the status of your plan. Ensure all outstanding deposits are paid so that we have no issue or no delay in approving your plan. For plans which are jointly owned, remember that payments will be made in the name of both subscribers. If it is that you require the payment to be made otherwise, ensure that you have the signed attestation by both subscribers. So now is the time to just check names on accounts, confirm account numbers, confirm branch code, have that information handy so that when you're entering the information online, the information is correct. We don't want to have any instances where you give us the wrong account number and we deposit the funds incorrectly, and then we have to wait until it comes back for it to be deposited to you again. Please just help us to ensure that the process is as smooth as is possible. All right. So what happens if your plan is not in good standing? So once the deposits have been reconciled, so once we get to the end of July, we received all of the contributions and we've allocated what needs to be allocated. If it is that you have, if you have a monthly plan and you have more than 6 contributions outstanding, follow us clearly. If you have a monthly plan and you have more than 6 contributions outstanding, at the end of July, July 31, you will only receive a refund of your accumulated principal less fees. All right? No further benefit is due, because at that point, what happens is that your plan is inactive. And so you will only receive a refund of your principal less fees. If you have an annual plan and you have more than one contribution outstanding, the same applies. You will only receive a refund of your accumulated principal less fees. If it is that you have 6 or less monthly and at most one annual contribution, you will be eligible to retire. I keep saying retire. Pensions is on my mind. You'll be eligible to receive either the SDO or the scholarship option. But bear in mind, your maturity payment may be reduced by the interest that would have been applied if it is that, or would have been accrued if it is that you had completed your maturity schedule. So now is the time. We would have sent out notifications a couple weeks ago to plans which were not in good standing. If you had more than 6 contributions outstanding, you got an email from us. If you had more than 1 contribution outstanding for an annual plan, you also got an email from us. Now is the time to really go on, look at your plan, contact your rep. If it is that you are not reaching out, getting through anywhere with the rep, then you can reach out to us at head office and we'll help you to see how it is that we can ensure that your plan is in good standing so that at the 31st of July, your plan can mature under the scholarship option. We are hoping most persons will select the scholarship option because the plan really is sold for the scholarship. That's really where you see the benefit and the actual return on your money. So we really hope most persons continue to choose the scholarship option so you can actually benefit, maximize the benefit of the plan. All right, so please feel free to reach out to us so that we can ensure that you have all of the application, all of your ducks in a row at that time. All right, so just to remind you that there's a poll here again. So just some very pertinent reminders. Then we have Marlene's just going to take us through some questions that will answer many of the questions that you will have based on what we have experienced over the past few webinars. And then we will ask you now to, well, at the end of the question session with Marlene, that you just drop your questions in the chat and then we'll go through and answer your questions as best as is possible. Let's see if we can try and keep the question and answer section to maybe half an hour at most, so that we can all, I know in Bermuda, I think it's now 8 o'clock or a little bit after 8, so we can get everybody on their merry way. All right, so just a reminder that the presentation will be sent. Your rep is on your dashboard. The maturity platform dashboard will be opened on the 1st of July. So you'll be able to go on and you'll be able to start your maturity application at that time. Use the time now to really review the status of your plan. If it is that your utility bill is in a language, then we can always use AI to translate it. Don't worry about that too much. All right. And then I think we would have, really covered what is an EAP. An EAP is really an educational assistance payment, which is otherwise called a scholarship. So we are going to just go through a couple questions now. And then at the end of these questions, you can then shoot your questions in the chat. And then we can take it from there. All right, over to you, Marlene.
Okay, thanks, Trisha. The questions should be posted in the Q&A as opposed to the chat. So just a quick correction there, Patricia.
Thanks, Mars.
All right, so let's go through the questions. We'll start with those that we have pre-prepared because we believe that most of what you're asking, we will be addressing in the questions that we have carved out to address in this session. So the first one is, will the webinar be recorded? Trisha did answer that. Yes, it's going to be recorded and will be shared to everybody who has registered for this webinar. Okay. So the next question, what if the child has already started college or university? So if your plan is maturing this year, you're getting your principal back in August, and the child will be in school this fall, starting school this fall. If they are registered to start school and they have completed, well, it's not starting. If they're going into remember, the plan matures this year, they become eligible next year for the first scholarship, or what we call the Educational Assistance Payment / EAP. They can only have an EAP advance. So if you're asking whether you can get your maturity proceeds this year and also have a scholarship payment this year, a scholarship payment can only be made if that child is advanced in studies. So if they're going into their second year in this fall, the plan maturing this year, they're in their second year of university or college, then that scholarship may be advanced. The proof would be required, proof that they've completed 1 year of post-secondary studies and is enrolled for the current academic year, or they have completed the 1 year of post-secondary studies. Doesn't necessarily have to be in a college or university setting. If that is completion of CAPE 1 and 2, or the IB program or GCA levels, with that proof, consideration may be given to advance the year of eligibility to release a scholarship in the fall of this year, okay? Only if your child is advanced in school. Other than that, the year of eligibility is 2027 for them to have their first EAP. Does the child receive an EAP in each of the 3 years of university? Yes, as long as the child is enrolled, whether it be part-time or full-time, whether they have completed year 1 or failed year 1 or didn't get through the year levels, it doesn't matter as long as they're registered in school, full-time or part-time, in a recognized institution, an EAP will be paid. Okay?
I think here, Maureen, is a good just a reminder or just to note that if, as Maureen said, let us say you are accessing, it's a 3-year program and your child didn't do 6th form, you're accessing maturity. In the first year, the child actually enters university. You're still eligible for 3. You will get the last EAP by using the diploma. So the child would have graduated, you're still eligible, you can use the diploma to really apply for the 3rd and final EAP. All right.
Thanks
so
for
you
that,
will be
Tricia.
eligible for 3. Okay.
3. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks for that reminder. The next question, is an electronic payment mandatory? No, it's not. It's mandatory. It's not mandatory for payment to be made within Jamaica, Bahamas, and the BVI. A check may be issued in those countries. If you're residing in those regions, then a check can be issued. For all other regions, including Bermuda, an electronic payment is mandatory. So if you're in the United States, the UK, Canada, wherever you are outside of Jamaica, Bahamas, and the BVI, the only method of payment for you is an electronic transfer. An electronic transfer. Okay? My child will be attending 6th form. That's in Jamaica this year when my plan matures. Will she be eligible for an EAP next year? As explained earlier, for the child to receive that EAP after completing 6th form, it would have to be the completion of CAPE. So that's what, upper 6, lower 6. And we have to have that proof for that to be considered 1 year of post-secondary studies. So they complete that, they complete 6th form. They're on to UE, for example, for 3 years. The EAPs will be paid in each of those 3 years, or may be advanced if the child is actually entering university in the year that the plan matures, which is this year, having completed CAPE or having completed 1 year of post-secondary studies. The EAP may be advanced. So you find yourself getting an EAP and the maturity proceeds in the same year, which is not typically what happens, but we do have those cases where the child is advanced in school. Okay? Only one EAP may be released in an academic year. Just remember that. So if the child is advanced, your plan is not maturing until your plan is maturing when they've completed 2 years of post-secondary studies. We've seen those cases. We're saying only one EAP will be released in any given academic year. But as Tricia mentioned at the end, you may submit the degree or the diploma to access the third and final EAP. If I have 2 plans, that matures this year, do I need to complete 2 applications? Yes, and we covered that in the presentation. You must complete 1 application per plan, not 1 application per beneficiary, because we do have plans where you have a beneficiary having 2 plans. Grandma has 1, parents have 1. You must complete an application per plan, okay? Do we need to apply for the EAP every year, or is it paid automatically in the subsequent years? You must apply for an EAP each of the 3 years. You must submit current proof of enrollment in that given year for an EAP to be paid. I'm not reading that one too clearly. Let me just go here. Can I change my option from SDO to scholarship and vice versa? The answer to that is no, and Tricia did allude to that earlier. Once you make that selection and the payment is released, the option cannot be reversed. So we do impress upon you to think carefully before you make your selection. And it's as easy as if the child is going on to college or university, then you're best suited selecting the scholarship option. The child is not going to school, or they're doing a 1-year course or a couple of weeks here or a couple of weeks there, then you're better off taking the self-determined option, okay? The options cannot be reversed once processed and the payments are released. What happens if the student dies after maturity and before the payment of an EAP? That would be a very, very unfortunate situation, and we do hope and pray that none of us find ourselves in such a predicament. But the subscriber may opt to substitute a beneficiary for another beneficiary, and there are conditions that apply. Otherwise, you may receive a refund of the interest that the plan earns. So if you had selected the scholarship option and the Benny passes before an EAP can be made, you can consider substituting another beneficiary. You may have another child, not yet 18, but still can be substituted. Just reach out to us if such is a situation, and we can give you specific guidance as to what to do. But the options are either substituting another Benny or receiving the interest on the plan. Okay, we do hope and pray that will never be the case for anybody on this call tonight. What is the currency of the payment to be made by EFT? So the plan is a US dollar plan. We'll refund your payments in US dollars. But if you ask us to make that payment by way of an electronic transfer, and your receiving bank account is a currency other than US dollar, that receiving bank, your bank, will do the conversion and credit your bank account with the currency, the US dollar equivalent to the currency of your bank. So it may go, I guess it goes without saying that in Jamaica, you're not going to want to have your payment. If you don't want to have, I'm assuming you would never want to have your payments in Jamaican currency. Some of us, you may, I don't know, but I'm saying if you do not want your payment to be made in Jamaican currency, you want to receive US dollars, then please do not provide a Jamaican dollar bank account. We've seen those cases, and persons didn't realize until after the fact. The bank that receives your funds will convert it and credit your Jamaican dollar bank account. You'll end up with Jamaican dollars instead of US dollars, okay? For Bahamian, if you go back to that quickly, for Bahamian subscribers, you'll receive Bahamian dollars, but it will be the US dollar equivalent. So you're getting US dollar back in value in your Bahamian currency account or your Bahamian dollar account. Okay. Will completion of Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Exam, CAPE, GCA levels, or international IB program qualify for an EAP scholarship payment? I addressed that earlier. Yes. Once you have proof of completion, then that equates to 1 year of post-secondary studies, and an EAP may be released on the premise that the child had completed either of those programs. So with that, I know we have some questions in the
Q&A.
we'll take this, we'll pause for this for you to answer this poll question, and then we'll go to the Q&A. So we'll start at the top with the Q&A.
Yes, I think so. Some of the questions are being answered live. Some of the questions will be answered by the team members who are also online, answering some directly. And if it is that we've answered a question, we will just dismiss it so that we
Skip
don't
over it.
we don't go back over the same questions, because you can't see each other's questions, right?
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so the first one that I'm seeing here, Tricia said, scholarship option not properly addressed. How does the unit affect this option? What does that mean in dollars and cents? So
I
under the
answered that one, Marlene, but
you did? Okay.
yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So does anyone want to take the lead on reading the questions then, and then I can make
Sure.
the attempt to answer?
Sure. So it says, you can only take your maturity this year and scholarship next year. Can maturity and scholarship not occur in the same year? So I
Okay,
think
and we had addressed that as well. Only if the
Yes.
child is advanced in school will we advance the year of eligibility for the scholarship.
All right. And just to remind you that it's not automatic. If it is that you're trying to advance your scholarship to the same year of maturity, there are some things that must be in place. We must have the university or the post-secondary level acceptance letter, and you actually have to do an application as well. So it's not an automatic thing. You will do the maturity, and then once the EAP rate is established and you have said, okay, I'm going to be applying for the scholarship, you will also have to go online and do that scholarship application. Okay?
Okay, maybe it's timely that we just remind this group as well that each year we do host a webinar for the EAP aspect of the program. So you will be invited next year to an EAP webinar where we'll have a specific presentation solely on EAPs and how they work. But for now, we'll make an attempt to answer as many of these questions as we can. But saying this to say, we have you. We will present an EAP webinar where you'll have your questions answered in detail. Okay.
Okay.
What's the next question we have, Tricia?
Will the scholarship option be available if the student is enrolled in a 2-year program, post-secondary program? The answer is yes.
Yes, the answer is yes. And yes, because we find that 2 years of EAPs. They'll be missing out on one EAP, but 2 years of two EAPs could actually be more than what you would receive under the self-determined option. So I would say if they're in a 2-year program, yes, go ahead and select the scholarship option.
Okay. If my child has been enrolled in college for 1 year and his policy is maturing this year, can we apply for, you can apply for either the scholarship or the self-determined option. If your child is enrolled in college, you can apply. We encourage you to actually apply for the scholarship option. We would advance the scholarship if they have completed 1 year, and then they will get the remaining scholarship over the next, the rest of the years in college. All right. Can the funds be paid to my child when doing the application?
Yes, if you would like for the beneficiary to receive the maturity proceeds, you'd have to give us instructions to do so. If the plan is jointly held, then of course both subscribers would have to sign off or present that request, to have the funds paid to the beneficiary who is named on the plan. Outside of that, there can be no third-party payment. So your proceeds cannot be paid to a school. It cannot be paid to your auntie, uncle, grandmother, mother of the child. The funds must be paid to the parties that are named on the plan, or the named beneficiary in this case, yes.
All right. We went over how the amount is already determined. So it's the number of units. We're going to have a scholarship webinar, number of units times the scholarship rate. Can we put the
URL
in the Q&A, please? Or I don't know if everybody can see the Q&A. Deneen, if possible, are we able to send a message to all of the subscribers or all of the persons who are online? You can let me know. All right.
If my agent from before the acquisition had migrated and I no longer have an agent, what should I do? I have not received an email for the online dashboard. Everybody's assigned an agent. Even if your agent has migrated, then we do assign a new agent. If you have not received the email for the dashboard, we urge you to send us an email or give us a call. Can we put the numbers and the email address in the chat so that you can either give us a call or send us an email? We will send you the link for the dashboard and you can log on to access your plan. So if we can just put those contact details in the chat, that would be good. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll put it in the chat and then we'll have them sent to the persons online.
If you sent an email previously and you're not sure if it was sent to the correct address, please resend that email to the email address that is now posted in the chat. Thank you.
Okay.
If your child is moving into grade 12 in September 2026, then University 2027, is a scholarship option available? Yes, because if your plan matures this year, they're eligible to receive their first EAP in 2027. So the answer to that is yes.
My child starts university August 26th and tuition is due August 1st. If maturity is July 31st, when will payment be made? So we indicated payment is actually, we're scheduled to make the payment by the first batch of payments by the second week in August. That's what we're committing to. The payments may actually be made first batch prior to that. But we have to just be mindful that we have bank holidays in between. So we're committing to the first batch of payments by the second week in August, but it may be sooner. So you can look out for the email indicating that your payment has been dispatched or your check is ready for collection. All right. If it is that you are having a challenge, there are irreconcilable differences. If the plan is jointly held, you can either reach out to us. We'll see how best to assist you in the process. However, both persons must be aware of the information that is being submitted. An attestation can be signed if it is that you or both subscribers have decided that, okay, the payment can be made to whichever party or whomever it is that is responsible for the child or whomever it is that was actually paying the plan, then that can be facilitated. So you can reach out to us in those instances or reach out to your rep so that your rep can actually assist you in, contacting the
Party.
subscriber. Yeah. All right. So you can reach out to us and then we will look at that case specifically. All right. The last payment date for your plan is if your plan matures the 31st of July. However, some plans actually may already have been paid up. It all depends on when you started the plan, and that will determine when your final payment date is or was. So it may not actually be the 1st of July or the 15th of July. You may actually have completed your payment schedule already. Okay?
But in any event, all plans should have a final payment date no later than July 15th of 2026. So it's either before or on July 15th, 2026. Can't be any later.
All right. Our child is not fully decided as yet if to go further education or learn a skill at an institution like Heart. So can we wait to fill the application for maturity? You can. An alternative option is, so if you're not so sure, if you're not quite ready for the funds yet, especially those persons who are in Jamaica, we encourage you. You can reach out to us here. We encourage you to do the online application, take the funds and put it in a unit trust. We have some very lucrative unit trusts that actually are, you'll earn greater return if it is that you take the funds now, you're not going to use it and put it in a unit trust so it can continue to earn interest. You don't earn anything really on your monies if you have them remain in the fund past maturity. All right, so if you're not quite ready for the fund, reach out to us here at Proven, and we have options available for you as to how you can just rest the monies a little side, earn something on it until you are ready for the funds. All right.
And that's just applicable for Jamaican
For
subscribers.
Jamaica, right. For persons who are in Bahamas, BVI, Bermuda, if you're not ready as well, you can always have the monies sent to your account and you can do a short investment until you are ready for the monies. It doesn't make sense you have funds here remaining in the plan and you're not earning anything on it post maturity date. All right, so we do encourage you to apply for the funds and do some alternative investment with it.
If they're in the BVI or the Bahamas, they can reach out to Nathaniel Butler, who's the agency director, or Gian Borland Kazembe. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to help you with that. Okay?
Yes. All right.
What's the next question?
Will applications be reviewed only after August 1 or maybe sooner? We actually will start approving the applications by the middle of July. You will start getting the emails to say your applications have been reviewed and approved, and then you can look out for the payments thereafter. All right. So we spoke about the fees for Bermuda already. Fees to transfer to any Bermuda bank, it's actually 50 cents. Can payments be expedited? We are committing to the second week in August. The
August.
plan matures the 31st of July. The first is a Saturday. The second is a Sunday. I know here you're saying her fees are due the 5th of August. So that really would have left us with the 3rd, 4th, 5th. So we're not committing to it. We can try our best. The 6th is also a holiday in Jamaica. But we are committing to it. If your plan is in good standing, do your application early so that you're one of the first persons to be approved, because we'll approve in the order that the applications are received. All right, so we can only encourage you to do your applications early so that you're in the first batch of payments that will be made. All right. How will you know if you have an outstanding balance? So if it is that you log onto your dashboard, so there are a couple of things. We would have sent you an email indicating whether your plan would have had more than 6 contributions outstanding or more than 1 annual contribution outstanding. You can also log onto your dashboard and it will tell you how many, sorry, when you look to the side, the right of the dashboard, it tells you your outstanding deposits, and it also tells you when your payment is paid to. So there's a field there that says next deposit due date, which means that if you have a next deposit due date of January 2026 and you have outstanding deposits, it means that you are owing from January. So it may be January, February, March, April, May, right? June, July, if your last payment date is actually supposed to be July. So log on to the dashboard. It will tell you if you have outstanding deposits, or it will tell you if your plan is fully paid up, and it will tell you your last or your next deposit due date, which will tell you where your plan is paid to. If it is that you have not received the email with the dashboard for registration, can you reach out to us? Just send us an email at customercare@heritageIntlplan.com. And we will indicate your email address, your plan number. We'll double check for you tomorrow, and then we'll send you the registration link if it is that you haven't received it. All right, so anybody who hasn't received the registration link, even up to today, send us an email. I'm going to repeat the email address, customercare, customercare, at heritageIntlplan.com. Okay, so you can send us an email and then we'll double check and we'll send you directly the link for registration. All right.
Was the question answered? I have 2 plans, one matured last year, one this year. What I am not sure about is the scholarship in 3 increments. Okay, so just quickly, the plan matures in 1 year. The beneficiary becomes eligible for the first scholarship payment the year after the plan matures, and 1 in each year thereafter, for a maximum of 3 payments, as long as they're enrolled in school and you can provide the proof of registration. That's how it works. So maturity 1 year, maturity proceeds are released. The beneficiary becomes eligible starting the following year. And each of those 3 following years, they'll have an EAP if they're enrolled in a post-secondary program. Okay?
All right. What happens if a subscriber misses the scheduled application dates for Bermuda? So we're trying to just encourage you, please make every effort to be there. We'll be there between the 25th and the 29th. If you are unable to do so and you do not have online access, then you can reach out to us here and then we'll guide you as to how to get your application in. All right. So reach out to us and then we will guide you as to how to get your application in. but we are really hoping that you could make it. One of the days is a Saturday, so we'll be there on the weekend through to the Wednesday. So we're just asking that you try and reach out to us if it is that you are unable to make the date. All right.
I see a question here. I'm not sure it's answered.
Go
Trisha, it
ahead.
says, what happens if you choose a scholarship option and then for whatever reason your child does not attend university the following year? Was that one answered live? I don't know.
No, it wasn't. You can go ahead, Mars.
Okay, so the first EAP, valid question. The first EAP, the beneficiary will have up to a maximum of 2 years to postpone that first EAP. So the plan matures this year, they're not going to school. The next year comes, they didn't go to school. The following year comes, they didn't go to school. That EAP is preserved for 2 years. Okay, that first EAP is postponed for a maximum of 2 years.
All right. 1 second. All right. Just wanted to say, please do not put your emails in the Q&A. Please send us an email to customercare@heritageINTLplan.com, and we will assist you there. If it is that you have not received the email for the online dashboard, we'll assist you there. Okay. Can somebody drop the contact numbers in the chat, please, as well as the email address, as well as the dashboard login link.
URL.
All right. So we have somebody from Bermuda. So there was a challenge with Bermuda calls specifically for Bermuda. We also would have sent additional information relating to a WhatsApp line. So we do have a WhatsApp line for Bermuda subscribers where you can actually WhatsApp us directly. And the numbers are now working. We were having an issue when we actually called Bermuda as well, where we weren't hearing anything. I think that has now been resolved. So you can try contacting us again and everything should be well. And you can use the WhatsApp number. If you haven't been able to contact us by phone, just send us an email and we will reach out to you. You can also send us an email and we'll share the WhatsApp numbers with you. All right. If payments were made via bank direct debit, once a final payment is made, will that automatically be canceled? The answer is yes. If you have a PAD set up on your account, then once it is that we have collected the last payment, then your PAD will automatically be turned off. Please note, if you have a standing order, however, you are responsible for canceling that standing order. I can also just remind persons who may actually have a salary deduction on, have a salary deduction in place. If your plan matures this year, we will try to do our checks as well, but you can reach out to us so that we can ensure that your salary deduction, you get a letter indicating that the salary deduction is to cease so that those monies no longer come to us. All right.
Or better yet, if you do have younger ones in the plan and they're under age 14, you can continue that deduction by way of an increase to the younger child's plan. So you can consider increasing the plan for the younger child as long as they're under 14 with those existing monies. Or failing that, we'll stop the issue the letter to have the deduction stop.
All right. How do I receive payments? Marlene would have answered this. You can receive payment to wherever in the world you are. If it's an international wire, we will wire it to wherever you so choose, but it will be at your cost. All right, so if you're in Canada, you give us a Canadian international bank and we will wire the funds to your Canadian account. All right. Maureen, are there any questions at the top that you're seeing that we haven't answered?
I see one here that says, at this time, it seems as if most kids are not certain if they want tertiary, thus putting us at a small disadvantage, so to speak. If we pay the outstanding balance, what is the maturity payout like for SDO? Is that calculated based on the principal and the outstanding balance together? If your child is not going on to school, as Tricia mentioned, the payments to be the benefits to be received from the plan would not be as great as if that child had gone on to post-secondary studies. The plan is sold and marketed on the premise that your child will go to school. It's preparing them for their post-secondary education. If they're not going to school, all is not lost. Whatever you put into the plan, minus your fees, it will be returned as the principal. And the interest that the plan would have earned, you can select the SDO option. You'll get both your principal and the SDO interest as one payment at maturity. Okay, it's unfortunate if they choose not to move on, because that was the very reason why you started the plan in the first place. I mean, it's just what it is. It's unfortunate, but all is not lost. You do get your principal and some interest on your principal. Okay. What if your child won't be starting university? I think that one is answered. Starting university in September, but September 2027. I did address that. We can postpone the first EAP. Okay. Suppose university entry is not for the upcoming August, September, but next September, you have 2 years to postpone the first EAP. Since there's no Bermuda rep, would one's account automatically be debited twice? I'm not sure I understand that question, Tricia, would you? Since there's no Bermuda rep, would one's account automatically be debited twice?
No,
I'm not
no, it
sure I
won't.
What
Not
does that?
sure
I don't
why.
understand the question. I don't understand the question though. But there's no double deduction, whatever the question is. We won't debit your account with any unwarranted funds. Okay? A lot of the questions I find here are detailed around the EAP, and I want to say here that we'll have a specific webinar just to address the EAP aspect of the plan. If you find that your child will be going into school, your child will not be going into school, your plan is maturing this year, the first year of eligibility is next year. If you have anything outside of the norm, please reach out to us by way of an email or give us a call. The numbers should be posted in the chat, and we can answer your question specifically. For now, the simple step is your plan mature this year, your beneficiary becomes eligible next year for the first scholarship payment.
All right. There's a good question here. Can I send all documents that are needed? No, which involves divorce decree, marriage certificate, all of those things. So you can send those documents in so we can update your address and update your name. However, when you're doing the application, you must upload your ID at that time. So there's no way around it. You have to upload your ID at that time, so you can send the other documentation in for us to update your account, but it must, if we're updating your account now, let's say we're changing a name, you have to complete a change request form. All right. Is it possible to add funds to a current plan that has not yet matured? You can add funds. You can adjust the plan if your beneficiary is less than 14 years old. Okay, so that plan would not have matured. Once the beneficiary is 14 years or older, you can no longer do any plan adjustments or any adjustments to that plan. All right. In that instance, it wouldn't be considered a second plan. You're simply adjusting the units, so it would still be one plan. Okay? For the WhatsApp line currently is only for Bermuda subscribers because they do not have a physical agency open. So it's not extended to the other subscribers at this time. All right. My
How many
payments.
times do you, sorry, this one is quick, Trish.
Go ahead,
How many
Molly.
times do you have to make an application if you choose a scholarship option? You must apply for one scholarship in each of the given year that the child is eligible, maximum 3 scholarships. So you would need to apply 3 times. Go ahead, Trisha. Thank you.
Thanks, Moz. My payments were set to finish end of March, but it's still coming out. If the payments are still coming out of your account, it means that your contribution schedule has not yet finished. You may have missed a payment prior to or sometime now. And so the contributions are still coming out of your account. All right. Once your number of remaining deposits becomes 0, then you you will no longer see amounts coming out of your account. All right. A reminder to Marlene would have said that we're going to have a whole webinar for EAPs. Because we know that the EAP process and just the general questions can be a little, convoluted sometimes. Some persons just don't necessarily understand it and on the first explanation. So we'll have a webinar for the EAPs, and that actually is going to be on the 27th of July. What we can possibly do as well is extend that invitation to plans which have matured this year and are maybe eligible for the scholarship so that you can have greater clarity. All right. If the scholarship option is chosen, can funds be sent to a personal account? You can send the funds to any account you so choose, whether it's a local account or an international account. It is your choice. If it's an international account, there will be a wire fee. If it's a local personal account, as long as both subscribers' names are on it, if it's jointly held, then there are no issues. If it is only one subscriber and only one person's name is on the plan, then you would need to get the signed attestation from the other subscriber. All right. If you opt to put monies in Proven until you're ready for the funds, yes, you can add monies to that investment. So that's a total separate investment from Heritage, and you can feel free to add investments to it. All right. How do you stop a standing order? You go to your bank and notify the bank that you would like to cease a standing order. So that's not something that is handled by Heritage. All right. For EAP payments, EAPs for this year will actually begin in August as well. So you'll find that EAPs, but they begin a little bit after maturity. So towards the end of August, September, that's when we begin making the EAP payments. Okay. All right, I think we've answered many of the questions here. Scholarships are payable to beneficiaries. Yes, they're payable to beneficiaries. If the beneficiary wants the payment to be made to the subscriber, then they will indicate that when the application is being done. All right. Marlene would have indicated that you don't have to do 3 consecutive years at the same university. You can do 2 at one and do 1 at another. You can do 2 and use or you can do, if you have completed a degree program, you can get the degree and then you can use the degree to receive your 3rd and final EAP. Is there a form or specific formats for the attestation? There is no form, but the attestation must have your name, must have both subscribers' names, both subscribers' signatures. It must have a date, and the signatures need to match the signatures that are on the ID, and it must have the desired payment instruction. So it could state that we hereby agree that payment should be made to XYZ, both subscribers sign, date, and ensure that the signatures are matching the IDs that are provided. All right. Payments can be made directly to an existing account at Proven. You don't have to set up another account. When you're completing the payment information, you simply put the PWL information there. For the scholarship option, I saw this question before. How is the interest treated? All right. So we'll have a webinar for scholarship, but let's just address this question very quickly. So scholarship, as Marlene indicated, the plan is made up of interest and principal. All right. So your monies would have been earning interest over time. And how the scholarships are derived, the scholarship payment is made up of part interest that is on your account. So at maturity, you simply get the principal, which is what you would have been putting in less fees. In the next year, let us say the child is eligible for the scholarship, we'll take 1/3 of that interest, and then you will get that interest along with a top-up. So every year we have to look to see the total interest that is there for all the subscribers who are due a scholarship payment, how many units, and then we'll see what the plan can afford to top up on that interest that will be earned to determine the EAP rate. So the interest that is earned actually goes towards your scholarship, but the scholarship payment is a significant portion of the scholarship payment is actually from the surplus in the plan. All right. So under any normal circumstance, you will see that if somebody opts for the scholarship option, they will get a higher payout than somebody who opts for the SDO option. The SDO option is simply your principal plus interest. There is no top up. And so that's why we encourage persons as best as is possible to provide or to opt for the scholarship option. Right?
Somebody's asking here, what if I do not complete the maturity application? Could the beneficiary still get the funds? The plan has to be matured for the EAPs to be released. If for whatever reason, there should be no real reason for not wanting to apply for the maturity proceeds. Trisha just explained what the options are for you to earn some additional interest while you wait. So if your plan is maturing, it's due to mature, we do urge you to apply for the maturity proceeds. You can reinvest those proceeds depending on your jurisdiction. They may be reinvested with proven wealth. If you're outside of that, speak to your agency director or your sales rep for guidance. Okay.
Right. Are electronic signatures allowed? If your electronic signature matches your ID, then yes. If it doesn't, no, it's not. What are the eligibility requirements for the different options? So remember, we have scholarship option, we have SDO option, we also have to ensure that your account is in good standing. So what that means is you will have 6 or less. Once you have no more than 6 contributions outstanding, you have the option to either mature under SDO, mature under scholarship. So you have that option. If it is that you have more than 6 contributions outstanding, so when you go on your dashboard and you see that you have more than 6 contributions outstanding, then what that means, you are only eligible for your principal. So when you go on the dashboard to apply, you will only see principal only. That's what you will see. All right. And so you don't have the option then to get the scholarship. You don't have the option to get your interest because you would not have fulfilled the obligation of the schedule, the maturity, the payment schedule. All right. I keep hearing about EAP. What about self-determined option? Self-determined option is where you are opting for interest and the principal, no further payments will be made. All the payments, once we start making the payments, they will all be paid based on the time or the date in which the application is received and once it's approved. So payments will begin by the second week of August, and that is for persons who selected scholarships, persons who selected SDO, persons who are principal only. Okay, so all payments, once your application has been approved, those payments will begin by the second week in August, the latest. All right. If it is that you have your payment method is by check and you have given us post-dated checks, or you actually have paid in excess of your account or in excess of your schedule, you will get everything back at maturity. And so whatever would have paid, you would have paid above your required contribution schedule will also be returned to you at maturity. So no worries, if the checks have been processed, you will be refunded those monies with your maturity payment. All right. Yes, there's a question here. Are you making a decision on the plan without the knowledge of the scholarship amount or EAP amount? And this is on the basis essentially that scholarship amount and EAP are discretionary. So just to reiterate here, you will at least get your interest that has been earned back. So when you think about an EAP amount, if let's say, for example, there is no surplus, the EAP rate will be such that it will be equal to whatever the interest is that would have been earned on your account. So you would not be losing. So in that case, we're saying do not opt for the SDO, always opt for the scholarship option once your child is going to be furthering their post-secondary studies, because at the very least, you will get back your principal plus whatever interest has been earned on the plan. All right. At the end of your maturity payment, what portion of the funds you will receive? You will receive your principal, which is whatever you would have put back in to the fund, less whatever fees have been taken out. So if your plan was insured, we're going to take out the insurance. You'll take out the membership fees that would have been paid towards the start of the plan and whatever the annual depository fees are. So that is what is paid on maturity, which is called your principal. Your interest is used to calculate your EAP rate along with the surplus from the fund. And so that amount will be paid in years 1, 2, years 2, 3, and 4, or 1, 2, and 3, however it works for you. All right. Okay. When it comes to your name, you just need to ensure that the name on the application and on the system mirrors your name on your ID. All right. If you have been married subsequently and you have a double barrel name and both those names are on the ID, then you should have no issues with your application. All right. The interest, so we're gonna have a whole webinar on EAPs. I think many other questions are surrounding EAPs.
Exactly.
The interest that is earned over the remaining 2-3 years, that interest is factored into the EAP calculation rate for the next 2 or 3 years, because the rate is calculated and determined each year. So last year the rate was 165 per unit. This year it may be 165, it may be 167, it may be 170. We're hoping that we can again increase it for the fourth consecutive year, but we will do that calculation and let you know. All right. EAP payments are made to the beneficiary unless the beneficiary indicates that they want the payment to be made to the parents. All right. If it is that you have a child who unfortunately won't be going to university, you know in advance, then yes, your option actually in this instance will be the SDO option. Okay. Is a scholarship paid prior to the end of each academic year or at the end of each year of study? The scholarship season opens in August. You do the application. A part of the requirement for the application is that the child must be enrolled for the fall semester. And then you can do the application. Payments are made. Once the application comes in, it's approved. So payments are usually made anywhere between August, and then we close the season at the end of February in the subsequent year. All right. EAPs will be announced at least by the webinar. We will have the EAP rate. So the webinar is scheduled for the 27th of July. So the EAP rate will be announced latest by then. Okay. All right. For persons, if you have direct questions about your account, can you just reach out to us, please? Customer care at heritageINTLplan.com. I've asked for it to be placed or sent to each person. Reach out to us so we can look at your very specific situation and circumstance, and we can advise you.
As mentioned, Trisha, a lot of the questions
are repeated.
Are EAP related.
Yeah.
And as mentioned, we do have an EAP webinar coming up, and we'll invite you. If your plan is maturing this year and you have EAP related questions because your child is going into school, is advanced into post-secondary studies, we advise you to reach out to the office or to your sales rep, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. Okay?
Yes, we do. All right.
Failing that, you'll be
yeah.
invited to the webinar next year when your child is eligible for their first EAP.
Correct. If it is that so I know especially in Bahamas, you have quite a few of the beneficiaries who are advanced and in second year of college by the time they're 18. So just a reminder, we said quite a few times that you are eligible I keep saying you are eligible to mature once you've completed a full year of post-secondary studies. You're eligible to mature and get your first scholarship at the same time or in the same year. So you do the maturity application and then you can do the EAP application. You would get your first EAP. He or she has 2 more years to go. Then they'll get the next EAP next year. And even if they finish before, they can use the diploma to access the third and final EAP. All right. If your child is going to Upper 6, September 18 now, yes, they will be eligible for the scholarship option next year as long as the child actually proceeds to go on to post-secondary studies. All right. If your child drops out after receiving 2 scholarships, doesn't complete the program, then that's it. You would have received 2 scholarship payments unless they decide to do another course or another year of something, then they would really be forfeiting the third and final time. You will have to do a scholarship application every year for each plan that you have for each subscriber. So it's not one application for the 3 EAPs. You have to do one application each year, providing proof that the child is actually enrolled in school. That application will also be done online, and we will take you through it when we have the EAP
webinar.
All right, I answered that one already. Is there an expiration date to select maturity payment options? No, there isn't. We just encourage you to do so as quickly as you can so that you can maximize your returns. You have the option to invest, put the money somewhere that you can invest in, so that you can actually earn some interest. So even if you're not sure, choose the scholarship option. That's really our recommendation. That's the default option. Take the monies and invest them securely. All right. If you do not complete the maturity application, the funds will just remain on the plan, unfortunately. So we just encourage you really to do the application so you can get the best benefit. All right. Best course of action if the subscriber currently resides in separate countries and the beneficiary lives with one parent or one subscriber. Hopefully we are amicable enough to have a conversation. You make the payment, the 2 subscribers can sign to have the payment made to the subscriber with whom the child lives. All right. If you have a child who is on the spectrum, who will be continuing at a special school, we would need to look at that case very specific. It depends on the circumstances, so you can reach out to us directly and we'll look at your case. Strictly speaking, if the child is actually not doing post-secondary studies, then no scholarship can be paid based on precedence. But reach out to us and we will take a look at your circumstances. Specifically, we look at the level at which the child is, and then we can make a determination as to how we would treat that situation. All right. I think we answered this already. Can the bank account be in the beneficiary's name? Yes, it can. However, both subscribers will need to sign to indicate that they're giving the authority for the payment to be made to that bank account. So it can only be paid to subscriber one, subscriber two, both subscribers or the beneficiaries. We do not make payments to any third party whatsoever. So please ensure that if it is to either the beneficiary or one of the subscribers, that the signed letter signed by both subscribers is submitted along with the application. All right. Do you get a higher cash benefit by opting for scholarship in terms of instead of lump sum? Not sure what that means. Two different things. Oh yes, I answered that actually. Yes, you do get a higher cash benefit by opting for scholarship versus the self-determined option. If your child is starting sixth form, I think we answered those already. Hopefully you are now clear. Your email has changed. You have requested a change and you're still not seeing any update or information. Can you reach out to us, please, via the email tomorrow or via phone so we can just ensure that your email is updated. We'll just double check if it is that you have received the information here to the new email, then that's a little strange. So you can just reach out to us and then we will take a look at it tomorrow. All right, if your child finishes grade 12 overseas, can the EAP be paid this year? We would have to see the program that the child finished. If it's just a regular grade 12, then the answer would be no, because I think grade 12, there are no college courses that are completed in grade 12, but you would have to reach out to us and let us know. So strictly speaking, the answer would be no. That person would have to do the 3 years in tertiary in university to be eligible for the 3 scholarship. All right. If you're not receiving the EAP this year, you will be getting, if you're doing your plan matures 2026. So in August, you will receive your principal, which is what you would have been putting in, less fees. Next year, you will get your first scholarship. That's in 2027, 2028, the second one, 2029, the third and final one. All right. If your child finishes 3 years and has received 2 scholarships, they can use the diploma again to access the third and final EAP. If there's a court document in place indicating that I'm the sole decision maker for my child, can this document be used? We're no longer in contact. We have no joint code, need clarity. Please reach out to us so we can look at the documents that you are referring to ensure that we are providing the correct advice. All right. If the plan was made in your married name and your ID has a double barrel, that's fine. Once your ID has the double barrel name, then that should not be an issue. If there's a sole subscriber, but he or she is deceased prior to or post maturity, then we are hoping that the estate, if there's a will, we're hoping that there's actually a will that would indicate who the estate is and who the administrators of the account are, so that we can make the payment to that person. If there is no such document, then you can reach out to us. We have to look at each case specifically. We have had, I think, instances where, depending on the amount, if it's below a certain amount, then the payment can be made directly to the beneficiary, depending on the value. And so we'd have to really look at your case. But if you know of a case where the sole subscriber has died, can you just reach out to us, please, so we can ensure that our documents are actually, and our account and our information is actually up to date. All right. How long do you have to decide whether you should choose a scholarship payment? You have as long as you desire. Again, we are just encouraging you to just make the prompt decision, so you can actually, if you don't want the monies or don't need the monies right now, then you can actually just take the monies and invest them until you are ready for it. All right. We have cleared all our questions and answers. I think we have, oh, that was a mouthful. We have come to the end of our webinar for 2026. If you really have any other question that wasn't covered here, then feel free to reach out to us based on the information that we would have provided. We'll be emailing you in another couple of days regarding the opening of the platform. The contact information is also there. Every email that you've received from us, the contact information is there. Unless it says do not reply, then you can't respond to that email. However, our actual contact information is in the correspondence that would have been sent. All right. So if you have any other burning question, just reach out to us tomorrow. We are available via email or via phone between the hours of 9 and 4. Remember, sometimes you may be trying to contact us. Our time zones are different. In Bermuda, you're 2 hours ahead of us. I think Bahamas is an hour. And so you may be contacting us at a time when our office here in Jamaica is closed. So just be mindful of that. So we will send an email to the Bermuda subscribers with the WhatsApp number. It was sent back maybe in April, maybe March, April. So you can look out for that information in the email that we would have been sent regarding Jerry's retirement. All right, so the WhatsApp line is in there, and the direct contact numbers are in there as well. And again, we will notify you via email, via media, as to our direct location in Pembroke. And just to remind you that we'll be there between the 25th and the 29th of July. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, team.
Thank you too. Thanks to everybody.
Fulfilling webinar. I do hope it is that you would have really been informed and that you will continue to refer us. We have one last poll question. How helpful was this webinar? This one actually should have popped up some time ago by the time we were halfway through the questions. But just last poll, if you can just quickly answer for us before you jump off, please. So we can really use this to make some really informed decisions as to how we move forward. So thank you so very much. And we do wish for you an enjoyable and a restful rest of evening. I'm Trisha Gay Clark, and it has been a pleasure being your host this evening. And we do look forward to the scholarship webinar, as well as the webinars next year. Have a good night.